Okay, so yesterday we have created how to get the data from the Excel sheets, right? So today, how are we going to implement the same thing to run the applications? Say any web applications are there. So how are we going to pass that way username, password through Excel sheet? Okay, so that is what we are going to see today. So before going to discuss that, so are you clear up to here how to get this data, right? So here now what I will do, I will create a one more class here. Say for example here in this package, I'm going to create a one separate class for that. Use it as a login logout. Okay, I will create a one main method here. Okay, so now my intention is, say I'm having this is the xlib, right? So this is the class demo ddf, right? So here, for your understanding purpose, I will have one more method here. Say I will just give you public void add method is there. Okay, so I'm going to pass int a comma int b. Okay, so now I'm going to add method int, say for example here c is equal to a plus b, right? So here we can int c is equal to a comma b. Now here this void, what is the purpose of void? What is void represents here in this line of code? Suppose if someone will ask you what is meant by void in this particular line of statement, so how are we going to explain that? Hmm? What is void?
It will not return.
Yeah, it won't return anything. It's a null, right? So you have to say that it's a return. Void, it won't return anything. So that void is a return type. Okay, so it won't return any null values. Okay, void represents a null value. It will returns. So now my intention is I don't want to return null value, but I have to return as a integer, because as we say that this a comma b both are integer, so I can represent this as a integer. So now I can simply write here as return as c. That's it. Okay. Return c. Okay. So now tell me, now how many methods are there in this particular class? In this particular class, how many methods are there? How many methods are there?
Oh,
Two methods, right? Yeah. So why
yes.
are you confusing? You have to say immediately, right? See, one is main method and another one
Main
is
method.
child, this one, add method, right? So now if I want to call this method, in this, I want to call that particular method here in this particular class, login, logout class. So what I have to do? Suppose how to call that?
You have to create an object first.
Yeah, we have to create an object. Correct. So now I am going to create a class here. So how to create an object? With the help of class name, right?
Class.
So now I am going to create one object here, and here I can say any xlib is equal to new demo df. Okay. Okay, so now how to call that method? Because this is a framework type, right? So this class is a framework. So here we have some kind of uh, methods here. So I want to call this method in multiple times in this particular class. So now how to call that method?
xlib dot that method name.
Yeah, xlib dot add method. Okay. See, now I can pass the variables, right? Parameters. So int a comma int b. Okay, that's all. Okay. So this returns as a integer, right? So I can store this as a integer. A is equal to this one. So now I can return this system dot out dot println a. Okay. See, now if I can run this, can I get the value of 30? See. Okay. So this is how we are going to make the reusable method, right? So this add method is a reusable method. This whatever you are having this method, right? So this is nothing but a reusable method. So you can call n number of times. Suppose if you want to add multiple values also, you can just simply use that xlib dot, you can say 3, 11. So you can pass in n number of times also. A1 is equal to, again, you can just simply call this. So that means that with the help of that reusable method, we can able to call n number of times, right? So you can use n number of times. Okay. So now in the similar manner, what I will do here, whatever we are having this string name, right? So this is the main method, right? Now I am not going to use main method here. Okay. So I will convert this as a reusable method. Okay. Under this particular class, we are going to convert this as a reusable class, reusable method. Okay. What do you mean by reusable method? So wherever we require, we can use that particular method. Okay. So now I will just simply return that, say for example here, this is the public static void, right? So what I will do, I will remove this and create a, I will pass these parameters, variables. Okay. So how to do that? Say for example here, public void, because here also I am not going to use void because it won't return any null value, right? So the values which we are passing here is a, it will returns as a string variables, string. Okay, public string get Excel data. Okay, so what I will do here, string whatever the values we are passing here, right? So this we are going to be converted into a variables. So we are passing the variables now here. String sheet name. So sheet name, comma, then int row number, one more int cell number. Okay. So this is what we are going to use. But now this returns as a string, right? So now we are going to create one string variable here. String val is equal to null. Okay. Okay. So we are getting this. Okay, so here this is written as a null value, right? So what you can do here, you can, so this is, I just give you a heads up to you because this is no more required for us. Okay, I just give you how to call the method. In the similar manner, we are going to call this get Excel data. So I just give you an example of this. So now what I will do here, return Okay, this is going to be written. So this one, okay. And we are going to pass the variable. So this is the sheet name, right? So now here in this workbook, right, I am going to be replaced with sheet name. Similarly, row number. So this is an integer. So I will keep it as a row number. And here also I am going to keep it as a cell number or cell value, whatever we want. Okay. So now here we have created as string TC, right? Now this is no more required. What we created here, return value. Okay, so this is also now no more required this. So it will returns as a string cell value. So now my intention is what? Now we have created one reusable method. This is a reusable method now. So now we have two methods, right? Under this public int, and this one is one more. So now how to call this here? Rather than we already created the object now. So similar to add method, we have one more method called as so we don't require this at this point of time. We'll we'll make it as a comment for practice purpose. So you can utilize this if required. I will make the comment. Okay. So now here, how to call that method? With the help of object reference, right? Xlib dot get Excel data. See here, you got this, right? So here sheet name, which sheet name you are passing, whether you are passing the data, I am going to use data. And then here 1 and this is 0. Okay, that's all now. Okay, so this returns as a string variable, right? Do you know how to identify whether how to this returns as a string, integer or any other? How will you come to know that? Do you have any idea? Suppose I don't, how, whether I can, this is a web element or a string or an integer. How are you going to come to know? Rather than by like assuming, how will you come to know whether this is going to be written as a string or integer or any variable, or how will you come to know? Just
By the type of arguments we have passed in the method.
yeah, we have passed here
Default
string.
integer.
Yeah, string we passed, integer we passed. Then how will you assume that whether this is a string or integer? Whether I can put
By
here string or integer or any web element or any other. See, whenever you remember one thing, whenever if you are creating a methods or whenever if you are calling any, sorry, whenever if you are calling the methods, right? So with the help of object reference, there itself you can find what it returns, right? How will you come to know that? Just this xlib, what we have created here, this get Excel data, this returns as a string, right? Here. This returns as a string, right? Return value, string. Yes
Yes.
or no?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So here I'll suppose assume you are not aware of this, what it returns, but when you go for here, when you're calling that particular method, you will come to know directly here itself, xlib dot get Excel data. Okay. See, when you are moving the cursor on this, after semicolon, you can see the string here. Okay. So this returns as a string. So you can confirm with the help of this also, string. You got it right? So you just simply
Yes.
remember this. So whichever
Okay.
we have after semicolon, this is a return. So this is going to be return. So string. So now I am going to store this as a string variable, and I am going to call this as a username. is equal to xlib dot, this one is data, and this is first 0, 1, this is 0. That means first row, 0th column. Okay, 0th cell. And if I call 1, then see, if you have this 0, right? Say for example, this is the data. So this is first, this is 0th row and this is first row, right? And first row, this one, column 1, 1 of 1. So that means that you will get this value. Okay. So this is 1 of 1. So now if I want to fetch this both the values, I will have to use which value I need to use for username? 1 comma. See, this is the username, right? So this relays on 1 comma
1, 1.
yeah, 1 comma 1. Yes, 1 comma 0, right? This is the 0th cell. Okay, so you have to call 0. So that is, you can call 1 comma 0 as a username. Similarly, I have to pass the value password, right? Xlib dot get Excel data. You can pass this as a, you have to pass sheet name. So data, then you have 1, this one is 1. So this returns as a password, right? So you can store this as a string password. Okay. So now if I can call this system dot out dot println username, right? Similarly, password. If I can call this password. Okay, that's all. Now if I can run this, can I get this username and password in console output? Okay, see now if I run this, okay. See, did you got this right? Whatever the values are there, it is going to fetch. Similarly, in which row and which column you have the data, you have to use that. You have to pass the sheet name. Suppose if you require in any other sheet is there or any other data, sheet 3 you have the data. Say for example, in this sheet 4 you have the data. So you can use these values. So sheet 4, you can use the sheet 4, then it will fetch these values. Okay. So this is about how to retrieve the data. Okay. So now next thing is what I have to run the application, right? Now what I will do, I can create a, now I have already added the jar files for Selenium jar files also I added. I just keep it ready. So see here we have the all Selenium jar files also available here. So in order to run Selenium WebDriver, you need the Selenium jar files also, right? So for that we already added. So you know how to add that jar files, right? If you are not having the Maven project, then you can go to the build path and configure build path and download the jar file. So you can attach the jar files now. So now here I'm going to create a WebDriver, right? So WebDriver driver is equal to new Firefox. Okay. So this is just a object reference. You can have anyone. That doesn't matter whether it is a capital or small. That is a object reference. But driver dot get URL, right? You have to pass the URL, right? So here I can pass the URL. So what is the URL name? So I will just pass this URL. Okay. See, now I have passed this. So then I can maximize this driver like Windows driver dot manage dot window dot, because this already you might be aware, window dot maximize. Okay. Then like timed out also implicit wait driver dot manage dot. Here rather than window, you will get timeouts. Okay. Under the timeouts option, you have the implicit wait duration. Here you can use the duration dot duration of seconds dot. Okay, you can use the 10 seconds, something whichever you want. So once done this, what you have to do? You need to identify the web elements, right? Driver dot find element, right? So I will make it as a normally wherever we are having, right? So I will just simply copy that existing find elements, because I am not going to write again that XPaths and all. What I will do, I will just simply copy the methods which I already have. Okay, so this is the methods, and I will just for finding an available element. Okay. Okay, just add the throws declaration. See, normally now what we did here, we are adding the username send keys here, right? Username. So now rather than, you know how to write this, right? Find the web elements, or do I need to explain again here? Rashita, Loshika, you are aware, right? How to identify the
Yes.
web elements, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So now simply here, we already created, right, this username and password. So this data, so what I will do, I will just simply put it here. So here I can use this. Now no more, I am not going to use. Similarly, here also send keys, right? You are passing the text from the Excel sheet. You are driving the text from the Excel sheet rather than hard coding or here. Okay. And this is the login button. Okay. So now if I can run this, let's have some wait time here so that you may have the clear idea when it is entering the test. Okay. It will wait for some time and then it will pass the data. Okay. Okay. So now let's run this. Now this is no more required because we already did this. See, now if I'll run this, run as, it will launch the browser and then it will pass the parameters. It will wait for 10 seconds, then it will enter the value. Okay, and it will wait for 10 seconds. Again, it will enter the password because we have given the wait time over there. And then it will click the login button. So that's it. So now if we can return that logout, then it will log out because we have not enter the script for that logout option. So then, so this is how we are going to log in. So, okay, so now here also just you can implement that also driver dot find element Okay, so can you tell me the X path for this if you have remembered this one? Where we have. Okay, suppose if I have the logout button, right? Can we go for ID? Logout link, right? By dot
Yes, sir.
ID.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have xref also, and we can use the text function also. We can have different, but I will use the ID directly. So here by dot ID,
Logout link.
yeah, we just pass this. And this is a action is click method, right?
Click.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you can use the click method. Okay, so now see now if we can run, then it will click on the logout and then it will stay on the browser like things. For 10 seconds. Okay, so this is as simple as that. So the how we are going to get this. But now my intention is here we have created, we are hard coding these values, right? This 1 comma 0, 1 comma 1. But imagine that when you are having the multiple values in the Excel sheet, okay? Say for example, in this sheet, I have these multiple values, right? Say now I will do one thing because see here I have created the multiple values now. So how are we going to execute this many times? I am using same parameters again and again. Here I am using just invalid password. Okay, in this case, how are we going to retrieve all these things? Just imagine that uh, what is the concept we are going to use here? If we can, if we want to do that multiple set of values, what we will have to do?
We can use for loop, sir.
Yeah, correct. So we can use that for loop concept. We don't want to use red or sleep. Okay, so here what we will do, the entire application, whatever the code we have, we can just simply put it these lines of code, right? Say here I'm going to use I is equal to 0, then I less than, suppose how many data you have, I less than 5, I plus plus. Okay. See, now what I will do, I will just replace this code, right? I will keep it under the for loop. Okay. And then I can replace this one, right? This I will replace as a I. So whenever it is going to iterate, it will consider the I value rather than 1. So this is the dynamic values during the runtime, right? So this is going to be taken. Now let's see. Now if I can run this, right? See now if I can run this. because this time I am not using anywhere that thread dot sleep for entering the username and password. Okay, so this is I comma 0, I comma 1. Okay. See here we have represented as 0, right? That represents as a first column. It takes as a username. That is the reason why we are getting the invalid credentials. But here it will starts with I is in the sense row value, right? So that starts with 1. So you can use 1 here rather than 0. I think that would help us. So now we can, because here I have kept this username. Now let's run. Now we can. It will wait for 10 seconds and it will close the logout button. Okay. Finally, you will get the error because after entering the username, it will throw error message because password is incorrect, right? So okay. So because I less than 5 we have given, that's the reason why. Because here that last data, it is not taken. This is
Less
5,
than or
right?
equal to.
Yeah. So that's the reason why. Suppose here also, I will make it as a some name here. Okay. So if I'll use this, then it is going to 5. Or I can make this as a 6 or 7. That's it. Okay. Either way you can use just for understanding purpose. Now I am not going to run this many times. I will just run only 2 times or 1 time. That would be sufficient. So here I can make the, okay, I will just use this. See now if I'll run this, this time mostly it will take the, okay, I think it is not considered. We have third also, right? So maybe less than 3 means the third index is not considered. We need to use 4 only then. Okay. So now you understood, right, how to get this. But my intention is what? here we are hard coding this size, right? So if I do not want to hard code this, because tomorrow we are not sure this data is going to increase two more values, right? So there might be a they may increase the values here, some more values. Then in that case, how are we going to execute this? Are we going to make it as a hard coding, or you can use any other values or other parameter? Okay. So for that, what we will do? So rather than hard coding this value, uh, we can create a separate method, reusable method from this place, right? So now here, this is the get Excel data, right? So in the similar manner, this is a one method. Now I'm just going to copy the same method again, and we'll create a one more method here. Okay. Say here the method what we can use here. This one, I don't want to use this string name on this one. I will just provide the sheet name only. Okay. Then I can use this as a get last row. Okay. Once if it will end this meeting, right? You could just connect on the same link. Okay. I will share you that link also. You can join that link. Okay. See here, get Excel data, right? So here rather than get Excel data, I can use the last row. Okay. So here also, I don't want any values here, this string RC. So we are just going to provide only sheet name only. Okay. So these all are comment.